I was drafted and then tried to get in the Navy. They weren't taking married. Tried to get into the Air Force and they weren't taking. Finally, just before I was supposed to go, the Air Force started taking married men. And the Army said I had to be in there. By the date was February 6th, 1966. I had to be in by that date or they were going to get me. So the Air Force got me in. Because I had brothers in the Army and they said you don't want to be there. I was an aerospace photographic systems repairman. Cameras. I worked with cameras, airborne cameras, gun cameras, missile cameras, bomb damage assessment cameras. We had cameras that fit on the radar, the scope that went back and forth, you know, and it showed where the bombs hit, what was their heading when the bombs hit, the time, and approximately what area they were hitting at. Well, we had jumping jacks. You had to learn to march, left foot first. You had to remember your serial number, and today I remember that thing.
What is it?
AF168591112.
Yeah.
Never forget it, never. Was sent to Columbus, Mississippi, B-52D model 52s. And then I was sent to Thailand. No, I was never in combat, but our planes were. The planes that we were with all went to North Vietnam. The planes that were stationed in Vietnam usually stayed south, and we would go north. They come in all the time with bullet holes in them. Some of them would come back with a bomb hanging up on them. Lots of pilots, when they come back didn't have anything to shoot, so they went hunting buffalo with a Gatling gun. Probably the main thing, not in Vietnam, but when I was in Columbus, Mississippi, that's when the North Koreans took one of our spy boats, and all our B-52s were scrambled. That means they were flown, put in the air, with three of them had nukes on them. You'd see the smoke roll, and then you'd hear the jets come up. And that was probably the prettiest thing you ever seen in your life. All the B-52 flies with its nose down, and most planes fly with their nose up. We had three usually sitting on the pad that were nuked, had nuclear bombs on them all the time. Where are you going to go? I mean, you just as well be right there where it goes off, I guess, as to be 100 miles away. So, seeing the SR-71 on Okinawa, that was a speedy, fast reconnaissance plane. They call it the Blackbird. It was supposed to be a fighter, but it flew so fast the bullets wouldn't come out of the barrel, so they made a reconnaissance plane out of it. It took pictures from way up there. Usually I was on the crew from 3 to 11 or 3 to 12, and you get the warmed up stuff that they had for chow, you know, and they had artificial potatoes and eggs, and them things warmed up taste terrible. You can hit them, and they just kind of like jello. It taught me to appreciate what we got here. Most people say that they would like to be over there. Well, they've never been there, because you had outside sewers. Sewers run outside. They didn't run down pipes and stuff like that. They run into clongs, what they called clongs, and then people took baths and washed their clothes in the clongs. We was on the flight line at night, you know, and they had big lights like you have to showing on the planes, and you'd hear a thunk hit the plane, and it was certain times a year, and it was a big bug about 4 inches long called a rice bug, and I'd sell them to the Hooch girls who took care of the Hooches where I lived for a nickel a piece, a baht a piece, and they just snapped the head off and sucked the rice out of it. That's Ann-Margret and Bob.
So you were up close and personal with the celebrities, huh?
Well, I was just there with my camera. And lots of guys took pictures, but not everybody had the option of going to the base to get them cleaned up, you know, our base photography unit, and they just blew them up for me and stuff. This would be the GI's favorite, I'm sure. That's Ann-Margret. Oh, no, there's lots of people that had pictures. These are just one among many. And this is Bob Hope, guys, but Les Brown and his band of renown. These girls don't remember, guys, but you do, I know. Well, they're just amazed that, you know, you have pictures. They said, why isn't this a good? Well, this is a good deal. This is a happy memory, but, you know, when you stay someplace for 365 days or a year, That's, you know, you need more than one of these days to kind of get along with yourself.